As you could see from that video, my potato crop got ruined, and the turkeys did come in later to clean up what I didn't get, I think. But meanwhile, I have all these potatoes, and some of them are so small that I'm going to have to do something with them, or they will rot. I won't be able to eat that many that fast. But I did get some that were reasonable size. And these will last for a couple of months, which is good. Well, what's interesting is the potatoes, they really pushed up my green marbles, what I'm eating from the garden, and really reduced the red ones because we eat a lot of potatoes. I've been buying them at the store. Sometimes I'll use sweet potatoes to replace them, so that the sweet potatoes help a lot. But it's looking a little bit better. I have still 1 week to go before my first month of this challenge ends. In this week's video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to recover from this disaster in my raised bed. And then I'll go on to show you what I've picked in the garden this week so far, and then what I'll be able to pick later on in the week. And in this week's video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to recover from this disaster in my raised bed. And then I'll go on to show you what I've picked in the garden so far, and then what I'll be able to pick later on in the week. I'm also going to introduce a menu plan that I use to keep myself from eating more from the garden. And then the last thing I'll do is show you what I'm going to do with all of these potatoes. I planted these in bags the same time as I planted the other ones that I had to pull. So thankfully I have some backups. And also in this bed that you see, I kept one row because the full bed wasn't totally infested with those grubs. It was just half of the bed. I was planning on planting sweet potatoes after I pulled the regular potatoes, but with those grubs still probably in there with their babies, I just didn't want to take the chance on something like that because I will have to keep checking for the grubs. So that's why I decided to come up with a recovery plan. These are the seeds that I'm going to be using for my garden recovery. The first one I picked, it's called a Seminole pumpkin, and it works really well here in my Garden Zone 9B, and they are delicious, but they take up a lot of space. And then I'm choosing a butternut. I've never tried this one, but I thought it would be interesting. And then I'm planting these other strange looking squash. So we'll see what happens with those. And then last, I'm going to do a couple of rows of sweet corn. This is the end of the recovery plan. Now we're moving on to what I already picked this week. This is what I picked out of the garden this week. A little cabbage, and of course those potatoes that got ruined. And so this will make for a good week for the menu. These are vegetables I'll be picking this week. If you're like me and you're trying to eat more out of your garden, then this menu plan, it might work for you because it really helps me decide what I need to preserve, what I need to eat, so I don't end up throwing anything away. I've got a link in the description below, so if you want to purchase this menu planner, it is in my digital store. But here's how I use it. I have every day of the week, and then I have meats, vegetables, and fruits, and starch or hearty vegetables here. So I just list whatever I have for, so if I had zucchini, I would put it here, lettuce for salad, and then I could put turnips here. I did pick carrots, but I don't ever cook them as a main dish. So I leave them out. That would be probably here so I could make a salad. Onions, the same way. I don't cook just an onion dish. But for the starch and hearty vegetables here would be potatoes that I just picked and sweet potatoes that I have stored. So that's how I use it. And then I just go each day of the week, and then I can figure out where we don't eat too many in a row, like too many potatoes or sweet potatoes. That way you don't get sick of what you're eating from the garden. For the smaller potatoes, I'm going to be freezing them today. But some I'm going to store so that we can eat throughout the month. The larger ones I labeled, and I'm going to put them in a dark area. To freeze these, I've got a pot of water boiling, and I'm going to wash them first. So I'm getting these ready to put in the boiling water. And what I'll do is I'll blanch them for 3 minutes, put them in an ice bath, make sure they're dry and cooled off, and then I'll put them in the freezer. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. Each week I'll be giving you updates on how my 90% challenge is going.